I am your guide, Rachel L. Gary, and I help goal setters who are frustrated and overwhelmed by providing a strategy that helps build the habits that are needed, one more time, that are needed to reach the goal of being the CEO of your life. And why did I decide to help in this way? I felt that for years, I have, for lack of a better word, had the sauce for setting a goal, achieving a goal, and having actionable plans every time to make sure that I was reaching those goals. And in the beginning, it was more so, it seemed like an accident. But I want to make sure that I say that there are no accidents when you plan. When you plan for success, success comes your way. And we'll talk about it in a great deal while we're here today. So the reason why, one more time, that I know that I can help, because I felt it was selfish for me to have information that I knew that other people could use in a way to make their lives successful. And over the years, I'm one of those people who has constantly helped when people ask. People ask me questions, ask me about situations that are going on in their lives, and all of it always broke down to them building up themselves in a way that they were able to attain the goal, the activity, the property, the wealth, whatever it was they were trying to do at the time when they came and talked to me. It all dealt with different habits that they had to develop. And before I had a course, before I had any formal training outline, I was just providing a solution. I was listening to the problem, listening to what they wanted, and providing them actionable steps. So a lot of times it goes to, you don't know how to get to where you want to go. And having that conversation with someone who has achieved goals and who has a strategy makes it a lot simpler for you. And that is why I decided that I have the sauce. And let's dive into what kind of sauce I got. So today, I'm accepting applications for the CEOs. CEO application. To qualify, you have to have clarity of your actions. You have to be ready to be empowered by your thoughts and have ownership of your direction. Who is ready to formally accept the position as the CEO of your life? I'll give you a couple of minutes because I want you guys to drop in the chat, I'm ready. I want to know you're ready. So as a CEO who just accepted, just 2 seconds ago, you accepted the application that you are ready to take on the role and going to do what it took to be the CEO of your life. So from now forward, when I say the CEO, I'm going to say of my life. And I want you guys to do the same. I want you to put your hands together and say of my life. Because at this point, you are encompassing and taking ownership. And now is the time. No matter what you want to do, whether it's romance, whether it's a better career, whether it's better health, you have to be ready to take ownership. So today, you just accepted the role, and now we're going to dive into, once you accepted the role, what are things that you're going to need to do to be able to successfully navigate that role in a way that helps you find wild success every time. So the 3 takeaways from this masterclass: how self-discipline helps your success, how time management allows you to develop success as the CEO, and how you can work with me to achieve success. So, have you ever been looking at your goals or ready to do something new, and you are just stuck and don't know how to get there. I know I wasn't the only one, because even though I have the sauce for achieving goals, what I realized is that without that strategy, I wasn't able to move my goals from the level at which I had achieved to the next level. So that's when I was stuck. And that me being stuck was recent. So I was stuck trying to figure out how to create the perfect course for you guys. So what did I do? Just like I will tell you, I got support. I got help, because I wanted to be able to package all of my thoughts in a way that were going to be able to give you clear direction, quick direction, and allow you to have quick success, and also provide the support. So I got me a coach to help me create that course, help me create those action steps in a way that allowed you to be successful. So I got everything that was in here that I have been using for years, and the little tidbits of information I have been giving everyone, and I packaged it into a full course that will allow me to provide it to you, and so you can have success. And that was how, for me, that's how I had to get unstuck. What I learned years ago, when I took on the role of being a CEO, when I accepted that role in January 11th, 2004, that is when I knew that I was ready to take complete ownership of my life, have clear actions, be empowered for my choices. It was ready to have ownership of my direction. And having ownership doesn't mean you have the answers. I just told you a few seconds ago, I didn't have the answers to a problem recently. And as you evolve, and as you get better at achieving your goals, and as you get better at utilizing the action plans that I provide, it becomes easier to understand when you don't have the information. You don't take the time to, okay, I'm going to just work through it. I'm going to power through it. No matter how consistent you are, if you don't have the correct strategy, you're going to stay on the hamster wheel. And I want to make sure, we all know what hamsters do, right? They run on a wheel. They run around in a circle. And when you're consistent without a strategy, that's what you are. You want to do it. You are now empowered. You're like, I'm ready. I'm going to get to it. But without all the information that is necessary to be successful, you're just moving without a destination in mind. So, as I said, being stuck sometimes means that you need assistance and you need help. And we all need help. There is nobody. We work together as a team in life. You get people that have like-minded interests and that are like-minded, and you guys work together, and that's how you become more successful. And it goes to what we've talked about in my past videos, where we discussed about making sure you surround yourself, your circle, with people that are positive, with people who have interest of moving forward in their lives. Because if the people that you surround yourself with are all stuck, how do you get unstuck? Just take a second to think. If everybody around you is stuck, how do you get unstuck? So you have to find a new group of people who are unstuck, or who have more information and can help you get to a better place. So as I said, there's going to be 3 takeaways. So we're going to jump into self-discipline. And self-discipline has 3 parts. Self-control. Controlling who? You and me. Routines and structures. What you do on an everyday basis and how that sets you up for success. And you being clear, having clarity. The C in CEO. And diving into self-control. Now, when you have self-control, it doesn't mean that you have a tight rein on your success. What it means is that you have a tight rein on being able to respond to a situation as opposed to react. You wonder what's the difference between response and react? Response is a positive, you have a solution. Reacting means that you are part of the problem. So have you ever noticed that when you get mad, that's a reaction? You didn't have a time to think. You just jump right in. So whether that's a jump right in to help, or is that a jump right in and you were upset, you didn't have time to think, so you didn't have opportunity to plan a strategy. When you respond, you have an opportunity to come up with a solution. So I'll use, for instance, today. Today I was driving, and if you are in the Chicagoland area, you know that today we had snow, rain, sleet, all within the matter of a couple hours. Now that's typical Chicago weather. But in March, it's at this point we're thinking, well, now we're in April. Wow, we're in the fourth quarter already, guys. So in April, it's not normal. It's not something that's normal. So I got out my car and I slid. Normally when you slide, the first thing you do is you get upset. However, I'm going to tell you the first thing I thought of. I was like, okay, they're going to have to put some salt down here. There was no me being upset. There was no frustration. There was no anger. There was just, hey, I'll tell the two people when I go in the store that they need to toss some salt out there, which is exactly what I did when I went inside the store. I went inside the store, found a clerk. I said, hey guys, you might want to put some salt out there because it's slippery. Now, that response is going to help other people. So it's not just for me. It's going to help the next person so they don't slip and they don't fall. Now, how did I get the ability to control myself? Years of working on it. You're not going to be able to do it overnight. That's not how it works. Everything we want sexy, we say we're going to do it, it happens tomorrow. Now, no matter what age you are, can you agree that from wherever you were as a baby to now, you've grown? Can we all agree with that? So if we all can agree that we've grown, what did we grow from? The information and the life that we had at the time. Our past developed us into the people that we are. So if we're looking to go to the next level, if we're looking to change that program, it's going to take time. But as a CEO of my life, now's the time. So I incrementally took moments. As I told you guys in a previous recording where we talked about, and I want you guys to take the opportunity to look at some of those previous recordings, because in those recordings, I give some really good information that is definitely going to help you be successful. And a piece of the recording was when I talked about Stephen Covey's Habits of Highly Effective People, where he tells the difference between a stimulus and response. Now, I took it to heart because the moment between stimulus and response gave me an opportunity to think. Now, it took time. In the very beginning, my stimulus and response time was nil. I had no time. Someone said something, I didn't like it, I immediately was like, hey, da. Over time, now, someone can say something that I don't like or agree with, and I can listen and respond accordingly and take into account what they're talking about. Because a lot of times, if we notice that we're angry about a situation, and once we think it all out, it's really a misunderstanding. And it doesn't matter what we're angry about. It's just a misunderstanding. And that's how we work on controlling ourselves. Because you can't control, I want to say this, anybody else. Not your kids, not your spouse, not your family. more so that you can control you. That's why you're the CEO of Mylan. As you learn and develop the self-control, it takes time. Within my course, I have a module where we provide information about how to utilize your thought process and how you notice when a thought happens. And as that thought happens, you make a switch. And it will take time. It takes practice. Just like for any game that you ever played, whether it was cards, to Monopoly, to football, to basketball, to soccer, and no matter what type of game that you played, you had to practice. And for your life, you're going to have to practice to gain the self-control to be able to provide a solution as opposed to being part of the problem. And that goes into you building your routine and structure. As you're trying to become more disciplined, your life has to be more disciplined. And that means stop allowing things to distract you and allowing things to just happen. Life happens. It's going to kick us in the teeth. No matter what we plan for, it's going to happen. But if we prepare ourselves that life is going to happen, that when it does, we're not overwhelmed and it doesn't knock us down. That's the reason why you're working on your routines and structures, because if you start your day, and I'll utilize with affirmations of I am going to, I am great. I am going to do X, Y, and Z today. I am going to be more positive. I am going to, when you say I am, you're taking ownership. That O is seeing you. And when you're taking ownership, at this point, whatever goes after I am is what you are saying you're going to do. So you want to make sure those affirmations are positive. I am going to think positive thoughts. I am going to read a positive book. I am going to listen to a positive podcast. And that goes into your routines and your structures. Looking at the things that you take in on an everyday basis. That information that you take in on an everyday basis. And you get decide. Is that going to help me be more successful? And we're going to dive a little bit more into that in time management. But that's what you're thinking of. Is what I'm talking about right now going to help me be better or keep me where I am today? And that's why we're working on those things of self-control and on the routines and structures. Being clear. When you're confused, it makes it very difficult for you to achieve success. As we've talked about in previous videos, but we'll always recap it. We're going to recap it every time. Lioness focus allows you to pounce on your goals. And the only way to do that is when you are crystal clear on what you want and what your desire is. And a lot of times we think that we're clear. So I'm going to use something that has come from people who've come to me asking me questions and who I've helped over time. Because I do a lot of real estate, people come talk to me about buying property, about different strategies of renting property. And today, for instance, I got a phone call from a nice young lady who was just looking to find out about the different programs that she could utilize to rent her house out as rooms, as opposed to doing it as a full rental. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of information about what her question was. Her question was just this. The question she asked was, hey, how do I get into a sober living program? So from there, as I told you, I'm big on, I listen. So as we continue talking, I asked a couple of series of questions. I said, okay, the reason why you want a sober living, and she was explaining to me that her reason that she really bought the property to have passive income. So at the end, by the end of the conversation, I gave her a strategy that was going to help her be successful. To accomplish the goal, her real goal was to have passive income. Passive means she's not doing anything. and to make sure that she had $500 to $1,000 of passive income. So the strategy, so the original conversation with me, remember, was about her wanting to get a sober living, because she heard that there was money to be made in sober living. And because I heard her say she wanted passive income, it's what prompted me to ask more questions. And when I asked those more questions, I was able to provide her a strategy that gave her a clear picture on what to do next. So I'll tell you what I told her. What we discussed was that there are many people who have a passion for doing sober living. To do sober living, you have to actually be more hands-on. I said, how about you partner with someone who wants to do the program? You provide the housing and you guys split the profit. Either that person can furnish the house, or if you furnish it, you get a bigger piece of the profit. That way, you still are able to get the passive income that you're looking for without the work that you don't have time for. Now, remember, her original question to me was, how do I get in sober living? What she really wanted, now this goes to the clarity, what she really wanted was a way to maximize her income on her particular unit. Now, if she had wrote her goal down, she would have wrote down a goal on how to how to have a sober living house. However, it wouldn't have fit what she really wanted. And that's what, when people come to me with information, they come to me with a piece of information of what they want. And as we talk it out, we end up figuring out what is it that their ultimate goal is. And her ultimate goal was to have passive income that was a maximum amount of passive income. And the information that I provided was a strategy that was going to allow her to have passive income and maximize her income on that particular property. That's about being clear. When you don't know that you're not clear sometimes until you talk to somebody that helps you find clarity. Now, as I said, that was a conversation I had today. Now, yesterday there was a different conversation that someone had with me about, they were trying to figure out if, so they currently make $150,000 a year. And what they're looking to do is they want to maximize their income where they're able to save enough money, provide a stable safety net for themselves in the long run. So we were talking about that currently they don't own any property. They don't own any property. They don't have any kind, they have a very small amount in their 401k. So I asked a couple questions. Once again, it's about asking questions. And the questions I asked them were, okay, so how much are your expenses currently? So they gave me a list of their expenses. I said, okay. Then I asked them, what plans do they have for the next 12 months? I'll get around to why I asked all these questions. So I asked them what the current income was, what was their plans for the next 12 months, and how much money were they actually putting in their 401k currently, and what was their retirement age. So they're currently 47, I think 47, 48. And they currently want to retire at 65. So that means they have 17 years of retirement. So what we did was we mapped it out. Their current expenses are 46% of the income that they bring in monthly, which is a great amount of money to be at. So that means they're spending less than half of their monthly income on their living expenses. That's their living, their credit cards, their car note, everything. I said all your bills. So we came up with a plan about the 401k, and their company has a 50% match, dollar for dollar up to 50%. Dollar for dollar up to 6%, and then 50% from 6.5%, to 9% of your income. So she's getting matched at 6% dollar for dollar that she puts in. From 6.5% to 9%, she's getting half match. So for every dollar she puts in, she gets 50 cents match on from 6 to 9%. So we went through it, and I said, okay. So we pulled up a retirement calculator. We tossed the amount of money in there and tossed how much money she would have. So if she puts the 9% in, gets the match, and actually chooses the particular stocks, because remember, 401k is tied to a stock exchange. So 401k is tied to the stock market. So we went through a couple of stocks and a couple of things to tweak on there and allow her for the maximum amount of return. So we chose stock portfolios that have year over year will give her a return of 7 to 9%. Now, if she doesn't touch any of the money between now and then, she will have about $1.5 million. Now, what I asked her was, is $1.5 million going to be enough money for her to live for 20 to 25 more years after? So we broke that down. Now, it broke down to, I'm going to give rough numbers right now because I didn't write those numbers down, but I'm just talking about, for instance, so these are actual situations that have happened over the last couple of days. And it equals out to her getting a little over $3,700 a month. And I asked her, will her house be paid off in 17 years? Will her car note be paid off? And will she want to travel? Because all of that needs to go into what she does next. And is the 401k plan enough? So she's going to gather all that information and we're going to talk tomorrow. Now that is what I mean about being clear. Even though her goal is to save enough money to be able to retire in 17 years, she doesn't have a plan currently. Now, I want to say this, that I am not a financial advisor. I am somebody who has some knowledge in the field, and if it gets complex, I do have people who I will refer her to make sure that she gets good financial advice. Other than if once we get past the 401k, if she starts seeing other things that I'm not familiar with, I'm familiar with a lot of things. I do investments. I have 401k. I'll say I lost a lot of money in 401k because I didn't properly change my allocations, which taught me a lesson to make sure that I understood those allocations, which took me down a path of research, which she's going to benefit from, because the research that I did for a couple of years, I was able to provide her a clear plan of action that's going to help her be successful until tomorrow, when we decide if that's going to be enough money for where she wants to be in 17 years. And that's what I mean about when you have a coach. When you get a coach and you get someone who is doing what you want to do, it starts to advise you that maybe you're not as clear as you need to be with what you want to do next. So having someone who has done what you're trying to do, who has information about where you're trying to go, it helps you be successful quicker and keeps you from falling into traps. And that is what it's really about, you being clear, having clear direction of what you want. So she had clear direction of in 17 years she wants to retire, but she didn't have a strategy on how to get it. And we talked out that strategy. Now, this goes to what you need. What is it that you need out of life? Because when we're talking about being clear, you have to know what you need and what you desire. Those are two different things. We have needs in our life for things that we need to take place. We need to eat, we need to have shelter, we need to have clothes, we need food, we need water. Those are needs. And there's some other needs that go into that as your life goes on. Like you need a car to get to work. You need those are needs. Desires are those things that you want. And those are usually when you're creating a goal, because you're saying, hey, I want something more than I have right now. Those are those desires. And how you show up for yourself is what we're talking about, you having a self-discipline. Because the belief in you and your ability to be in control of you, to actually have that structure and discipline that's going to be needed. One more time, you're going to need that routines and structures to be able to move forward in your plan. And you're going to have to be crystal clear on the path in which you are going, so you can get from your needs to your desires to you having everything that you want. As a CEO of my life, that's what I think of every time that I'm setting a goal. All right, this is what I need to have. This is what I want to have. All right, this is where I am. So whenever I set a goal, I say, this is where I am. What are the steps that are going to take me to get to here? And sometimes I know those steps. And so when I know those steps and I say, okay, do I have the correct information to be able to get to those steps? And do I have the current education? Am I financially ready for the goal? So as I have talked in the past, I'm a real estate fan. That was the vehicle in which I chose to build generational wealth. However, as I have learned more things since I originally started buying real estate, I've learned a little bit more about building trust and how a trust, if you put a certain amount of money in a trust and in certain stock exchanges, that money will grow quicker than real estate. Now, once again, you're only as clear as the goal in which you set in front of you and you're attaining that information. As I got a coach to find out how to create my courses, him and I were discussing other things, and that's when we started talking about trust, different loan products. We were just talking in general, and he gave me a little more information. So it goes to it. When you know better, what you do, guys, what we do when we know better. So I put it out there in the chat. When you know better, you do better. So when you know better, you do better. And when you do better, that's when you get that continuous growth. So when you have those, your needs and your desires come with a plan. And when your plan has action, you're making it happen. And that's what it's about. So do you believe that as you grow in any area of your life, it also brings you financial growth? Who believes that? Someone put a one in the chat, or just say I believe. If you believe that, if you correct any area of your life, or you're doing better in any area of your life, does it help you financially? Let me know what you think. Wait for those. I believe. Okay. How? So we're gonna go a far away, go from finances, and we're gonna talk about health. When you are, and that's usually on one of our goals, that's one of everyone's goals, we want to be healthy. So when you're healthy, think about it this way. When you're overweight, you have a tendency of your body hurts more because your body is carrying around more weight. And I use myself, for instance, with my ankle. My ankle was hurting. I wasn't able to go to the gym. So during that time, I had gotten tired. I wasn't as energetic as I normally was. So it limited the amount of time that I was working. So instead of working 10 hours a day, I was like, okay, I'm only going to work 8. I mean, right now, I'm exhausted. I need a nap and everything. So I only work 8. I was only going to work 8 hours. And with 10 hours, I'm going to make another $100 or $200 for 2 more hours. Instead, I'm tired because I wasn't working out. So what was the loss? So my health affected my finances because I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't feeling up to it. My energy level was low. I was getting tired quicker. So I didn't have the energy to push the other 2 hours every day. So over a course of a week, how much money I lose? Come on, no, I mean, addition is addition here. We got it. Two times 5 is 10. Add 2 zeros, we had $1,000. So because I wasn't able to go to the gym, bring my energy level up, I wasn't able to make $1,000 a week. This happens in our everyday life. And it doesn't matter if you eat a bunch of junk, your body is sluggish. It makes it where you don't have energy to do other activities that could possibly make you more income. When you don't get enough sleep, your brain isn't able to function. And when your brain is unable to function, you're unable to attain activities that could produce more money. That's why I say every aspect of your life ties in to growing your finances. So I hope you guys said I believe in the chat, because hey, that's a true story. It happened to me every day. Second thing I said I was going to talk to you guys about. Time management. 3 things we're going to talk about in time management. Plan, execute, reevaluate. Time management is about planning your day, planning your week, planning your life. Because as a CEO of my life, I know if I don't have a plan, I plan to fail. Let's say it one more time. Can we all agree that if you don't have a plan, then you plan to fail? So, for time management, you're looking at your day as a whole. We talked about it a little in previous videos about 24 hours being $2,400, but I want to tie it into when you're looking at your whole day and you're prioritizing things of importance, and you have to prioritize things of importance. This is where you're planning out your day. You're prioritizing things that propel you forward, leave you stagnant, or on your plate and you don't know why. And the things that are on your plate and you don't know why, you should start with those. Because if you have things that are in your day that you're doing on an everyday basis, and you're saying, how did this become mine, as opposed to whom it belongs to? Either it belongs to your kids, your spouse, your family, people at work, but it doesn't really belong to anything that is helping or growing you. Whether that's financially, spiritually, emotionally. These things should be growing you in a way that help you be successful. So when you're planning out your day, you have to prioritize what's in your day already and what you can kick out your day. And we talked about TV and radio and hanging out. And there's good TV. There's bad TV. There's good radio. There's bad radio. And I don't mean bad in the sense of bad music but if that information that's on the TV or the radio is not propelling you forward, it's not part of your plan of success. And right now, we're planning for success. And in planning for success, we're taking our time, we're taking the moment, and we're planning out how we want our day to go, our week to go, our month to go, so we can reach our goals. So how you reach that goal is you got to plan activities that allow you to successfully reach your goal. So to plan those activities, you have to make sure those activities are in your plan and they're prioritized accordingly. Execute that plan. Okay, guys, this is where we at. When we have the plan, what stops us from executing? So drop some things in the chat. Drop some things. Tell me what stops us from executing that plan. Okay, work. All right. So we got work that stops us. We got the kids that stops us. Spouses that stop us. Okay, that's fair. But we're gonna take a step back. The kids, the spouse, the job. If any of those things were the reason that you say your plan can't be executed, what did we just do? We gave over ownership to somebody else, to something else. And remember, we're CEOs. We are owning my life. So if I'm owning my life, I'm going to own my execution of my plan. How do we do it? This is how we do it. We set the boundary, and that's when we're developing ourselves. We understand that we need to set healthy boundaries that are going to allow us to be successful. And this is something that that is inside of the program. That we call it S4. It deals with self-development, it allows us to action self-discipline, self-care, self-esteem, and allowing us to be more self-aware. And that's in the program, and we call that the S4. And that allows us to build up and get rid of things that are not serving our purpose of growing us. And remember, growing us allows us to help our kids, our family, and have a better life. So all of the things that are not serving that purpose, we need to make sure that we align them appropriately. And dealing with executing our plan. If our plan is success, and now since we have a plan, so we plan to succeed. Once we have a plan in hand, we're planning for success. And a plan for success, we got to make sure that we talk to people about the boundaries, healthy boundaries, and get them on board with, this is how I'm able to help you. Even at work. And sometimes we will say, I can't tell the job what I want to do. I'm going to give you a way to say it. Your boss gives you some work. Gives you some work at the last minute. And they do it constantly. They give you work at the last minute. Healthy conversation. This is just a little tidbit of information I give you. Hey, boss, I'm here to help. And at all times, I want to give you my best effort and make sure that whatever project that you give me is going to be successful. However, when you give me only a couple of hours to get it done, it makes it very difficult for me to give you my best work. So if it's possible, can you let me know that things are in the pipeline, or give me a deadline that is feasible to make sure the project is successful, so you look good and I feel good. If you heard what I said there, it was really pushing back on your boss, explaining that if you want me to do a good job, I need some things from you. Healthy boundaries. Setting those healthy boundaries. Now, reevaluating your plan. When you reevaluate the plan, remember, you had a plan, you had an execution point of the plan, and the reevaluating is when you didn't execute parts of the plan, or things that you planned, you really found out that there were things that you could pass off to someone else, or there are things that are not going to really help in a way that you thought they would. So that's when you reevaluate the plan and make changes accordingly. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you reevaluating the plan. It's your plan. And the plan has to make sure that you're able to propel forward, not lay stagnant and get the mess off your plate that is not yours in the first place. Now, I promise you guys there's going to be 3 things that we talked about today. The first thing was self-discipline. And I'm hoping that us talking about self-control, routines and structures, and having clarity help. The second thing I told you we were going to talk about was time management. To plan, execute the plan, reevaluate when the plan isn't going as you planned. And the third thing is how working with me will help you be successful moving forward. I can tell you, without the tools in which I provide, you can go on the international highway of Facebook, of YouTube, of Google, and you'll find a plethora of information. While you're disseminating, and trying to integrate that information into your life, why bother when you have the solution right here and right now? So click the link, get the code, and let's start achieving success today. And we will talk next week in the CEO boardroom. And until then, I want you guys to be up, out, and moving to the greatness we all know lies within who? You.